Hi kids, welcome back to another catechism video. I think the last time I did one of these I was standing in a freezing cold field of snow. Well, it's certainly a bit warmer than that today. This week we're going to be looking at catechism question 10. But before we get into that, let's just give ourselves a quick reminder of question 9, shall we? Question number 9 was, what does God require in the first, second and third commandments? And the answer is, first, that we know God as the only true God. Second, that we avoid all idolatry. Third, that we treat God's name with fear and reverence. Okay, now this week we're moving on to question 10, but it's still about the 10 commandments. Now, just as a reminder, the commandments are the good rules that God has given us to live by. So let's look at this week's question and answer. What does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments? Fourth, that on the Sabbath day we spend time in worship of God. And fifth, that we love and honour our father and mother. Okay, let's read through that again. What does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments? Fourth, that on the Sabbath day we spend time in worship of God. Fifth, that we love and honour our father and mother. Okay, so let's have a look at the fourth commandment in a bit more detail, shall we? The fourth commandment tells us that on the Sabbath day we're to spend time worshipping God. Now, the Sabbath can sound like a bit of an old-fashioned word to us, can't it? But it basically just means the day that we keep as a special day each week to spend time worshipping God and learning about Him, and also for having a rest from work and school. For most of us, that day is Sunday, the day that we meet together as God's church. We all need a rest, don't we? God didn't make us to be busy all the time. It's important that we work and that we do our best when we're asked to do something at school or at home, but it's also important that we rest. God invented work and He also invented rest. And He wants us to make time to remember that He is God and He's done so many good things for us. God deserves all our worship every single day, doesn't He? But if you're anything like me, it can be easy to forget this sometimes because of all the other things that we might be doing or thinking about. So Sundays are really important as a way of being reminded just how wonderful God is. It's a bit like when the battery in a device is running low. We plug it in, don't we, to charge it up again? Well, we don't need to be plugged into the wall, do we? But on Sundays, it's like we can be plugged into God's people and plugged into the Bible and to prayer and to being taught about God's greatness. And this is a bit like charging ourselves up so that we can be ready to start the week trusting in Jesus and living for Him. So that's the first part of our answer, that on the Sabbath day we spend time worshipping God. Then the second part of the answer is the fifth commandment, which tells us to love and honour our father and mother. This means we're to love our mums and dads and honour them in what we do. Honour can sound like another old-fashioned word, can't it? But it basically means to respect your parents and the things that they decide are best for you. We might not always understand why our parents do certain things, and we might not agree with them all the time, but we can still trust that they're doing what they believe is best for us. This commandment tells us to be okay with that, and to remember that even if we don't feel like our parents are making the right decisions, we're to respect them anyway. We won't always understand everything, but if we love and honour our parents, then we are obeying God. God made your parents, and He made you to be their child. And just as we've learnt previously, God doesn't make any mistakes. So see if you can think of some ways that you can honour your parents this week. Here are some suggestions. You could look for ways to be helpful around the home. You can try and be cheerful when you speak to them. You could pray and thank God for your parents and ask Him to help you obey the fifth commandment. And then even as we grow up and leave home, we can still obey this commandment by honouring our parents in the way we speak to them or talk about them when they're not there. So in answer to our question, what does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments? The answer is Fourth, that on the Sabbath day we spend time in worship of God. Fifth, that we love and honour our father and mother.
What does God require in the first, second, and third commandments?
What does God require in the first, second, and third commandments?
That we know God as the only true God.
That we avoid all idolatry.
That we treat God's name with fear and reverence. What does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments?
What does God require in the fourth and fifth commandments?
That on the Sabbath day we spend time in worship of God.
That we love and honor our father and mother.
Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.